You're not stuck. Now, what does that mean? A lot of people in the world, especially in Western societies, especially in America, feel like they're very stuck in their routines, their life, their situations. But don't think that's necessarily true. I think that you have to reframe where you're coming from away from like I can't do something. You're definitely not stuck unless you let yourself stay there. You can definitely be stuck. Um, you have to be you have to prepare yourself by setting yourself up for agency. I would say that you are probably in a particular stage in a timeline of your life where you feel stuck, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be here forever. You could stay there. You could obviously just stay there if you wanted to. If you stayed in that mindset, you won't be able to get out of that place in time. But it is up to you. You do have the power to move yourself through your timeline to the next stage. Um, I would say as an example, I grew up poor and I thought that I was always going to stay poor and that I would never be able to leave the United States. Now, it took me 20 years before I was able to leave the country after deciding that I wanted to leave the country. It did take me a long time, but I didn't stay in that particular place. And I probably could have left the country a lot earlier than that if I had known what I had known now about financial literacy and preparation and goal setting. I would have been able to probably leave a lot sooner. But if I would have stayed in the mindset that I was when I was a teenager, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I don't believe that everybody, when they say that they're stuck there forever. You're stuck there right now. But and like, what can you do, um, to achieve your goals quicker and to move yourself through your timeline to the next stage, to freedom, from stuck to freedom. And I think that I could help a lot of people attain that sooner than later by just changing your mindset. I think a lot of it is mindset. It's a lot of limited thinking and believing in yourself and setting goals and plans will actually change your life. It's really simple and it seems really hard, but the goal, the key is to just move forward. So right now you're in a particular situation. I'm saying this, using the example of like moving abroad or maybe getting out of a job or something like that. But moving abroad works for me because this is what I wanted to do. So right now you're in a situation where you're like, I can't leave. I'm in a situation where I don't have the financial means. I'm stuck in this situation. There's nowhere I can go at this immediate moment. Now that's fine. So what do you do in the meantime while this is happening? You prepare. So right now you prepare. How do you prepare? You do your research. You start studying, maybe you want to go to particular countries, you start studying those languages. You don't need private lessons to learn a language. Most people have a phone, right? They have a computer in their hand. You have access to the internet. You can start teaching yourself other languages. You can start teaching yourself other skills. You can start learning about the different cultures. You can start seeing other people's perspectives in these countries and what part of the countries that they're going to, and like what you think that you will like and what you won't like, and start accumulating information. And yeah, just do your research and prepare for the time in the future when you are ready to go. Look at the laws in terms of immigration. Look up how much things cost. Understanding that they're probably going to cost more by the time you're able to go because of inflation. Everything, prices rise. But like preparing now, understanding what to expect before it happens is one way to get out of being stuck, and it also gives you hope for the future and motivation to keep going. Now, what else can you do? Extra jobs. Now, I know that can be really hard for people, and a lot of times the situation is people are like, I don't make enough money, and the issue is like, how do I get out of this? You have to make more money. There's no way. If you're in a situation right now where you're like, I don't make enough money, then you have to figure out a way to make more money. So you might have to get a new job, right? That pays more. And maybe you don't necessarily like the job as much, like the new job that you're going to be going after, but that's not the point. The point is to make more money and to save money. Your goals are more important than the immediate situation. And you probably, if you're not making a lot of money right now, you probably don't like your job to begin with. So does it matter if you're at another job that you don't like, but you're making more money? You just have to like balance that out. Or maybe you have to get extra jobs which is not great. It's really demeaning and demoralizing sometimes when you're like, I'm already working so much and now I have to work even more. But that's sometimes the situation that people are in where they have to do more now so that they prep themselves for the future. But my recommendation is just to get a higher paying job. So if you are in a minimum wage job, you need to figure out how can you get a different job that has the same requirements of the job that you have now, or the experience or the education that you have now, that will pay more. And that might mean you need to look at jobs that you would never look at before. Like you never think to look at, maybe, you're doing retail or customer service. Maybe you look into construction. You might be surprised by the type of jobs that are available in those fields that have nothing to do with like brute physical labor. Just looking, excuse me, just looking outside of your box, and you might be surprised by what you could find. Another way to get out of it is selling items, right? Do you need all of the things that you have? A lot of Americans live in a consumerist society where you have to consume so much stuff, you have to buy so many things, and it's like, do you need all of these things? Do you use all of these things? Can you sell them? Can you get rid of them? And not only selling things gives you like money, obviously, that's the reward of us getting rid of things. It might just make you feel lighter. It might make you feel more free to not be shackled down by so many physical objects. Getting more skills is another one. And like I said, you have a computer, you have your phone, you can learn new things online all the time. The world is your oyster. You just have to figure out how to search for the information. There's also like many programs online that are free. I'm pretty sure Google has lots of certifications where you can learn new things for either for free or for low cost. So I think that's, really important. Looking into your local community, does your local is there any social services that are available that has any teaching available? Is there a community college available that has any programs where you can learn a skill in a short amount of time? You just have to be resourceful. Go to the library, like literally go to the library and look up books on how to do something and learn old school by reading and comprehending and then putting those things into action. Another thing is financial literacy. So I think that's really key, if especially when it comes back to the job situation and the consumerism. If you don't know how money works, you don't know how your money works, there's no way you're going to be able to attain your goals. You have to know how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, and how to save and invest for you to, meet certain goals. And that's easily done. There's so much information online on how to help yourself with financial literacy. I even have some documents and programs around financial literacy. You can go in the description and click on those if you like, but there's lots of free things available everywhere. Another one is like explore your options. You're probably living in a city that you maybe lived in your entire life, or you move there for family or what have you. Are there other options for you? Are there other programs? Are there other jobs where you could leave? A lot of times companies are willing to relocate people to different parts of the country, different parts of the world, if you're willing to uproot your life. There's other things that are going on. Could you go back to school? A lot of people, they're like, oh, what about the debt? I'm like, the debt's always going to be there. Education debt, it happens. Is that something that you're willing to take on to change your life situation for the better and go into a program that's going to be fruitful for you in your career? I already said this: research, 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 research. And that's like the preparing. Is like you have to look up things and figure out what you're interested in, and don't be swayed by social media. You can do research that way to get inspired, but a lot of that is sugarcoating. I don't like to do that. I like to be more about information, not sensation. And I think it's important that you do your research and be mindful that some people are just selling you things, even just selling you ideas, selling you a dream. But like do your research diligently and find out the things that you need to do. Prepare your paperwork in advance, actually. So doing paperwork, even just like uh, uh, immigration things, right? Just looking it up, seeing what it looks like. When you look up the paperwork and you see all of the steps that you have to do and you fill them out just like as a practice, it can feel less overwhelming, less daunting when you do get into the real situation. Just practicing filling out paperwork and things. Because if you are going to live abroad, you are going to fill out paperwork, you are going to go through immigration, you are going to have these bureaucracies. You want to feel comfortable doing all of this. Scouting the countries, like I said, again, this goes back to the research, like looking up the countries in detail and truly understanding the culture, the economics, the sentiment of having foreigners there. You really want to scout your countries well and make sure that it's actually countries you really want to go to and not things that you've been sold online. And then in terms of going back to like the debt stuff, I would say, snowball. Snowball technique. Start there. Smart. If you have any debt, start with the snowball technique. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Start there to work out of your debt. It is really highly effective and it can be really motivating you to get on top of your financial problems. Uh, there are some other things that I want to bring up that could be hindrances for people or maybe just variables that they're hard to reconcile with. So that might be your parents, right? So if you have parents that maybe you're taking care of or that they rely on you, you have to think realistically. And it's like, okay, well, my parents are alive right now. Maybe they're elder. If they're elder, you have to realistically think of like they won't live forever, right? That's just a reality, and it sounds really harsh, but they're not going to live forever. So maybe you're like, I can't leave the country now, but I can leave the country later when they are no longer here. But you can always like start preparing to leave the country right now, in anticipation of when that does happen. And that can be a little grim, but that's just a reality. If your parents aren't old, they're just relying on you emotionally, economically. That's something you're gonna have to really work through. You might need to see a therapist about that because there just might be some codependency happening and you need to learn how to remove yourself and live your own life. And that's something I can't help you with. I would just say I would implore you to look into positive, um, positive and healthy emotional boundaries with your family. Now, if you have kids, again, kids, they will grow up. So if you don't want to take them out of the United States, you want them to stay here, then you have to reconcile the fact that you will have to wait until they're 18 before you could leave the country, right? Or you could just take them with you, right? Like kids are very resilient, really resourceful, and they adapt very well to new environments. And they might even have better opportunities abroad, especially with education in their careers. So that's something just to think about. If you're like, oh, I have these kids, I don't know if I can do it. A lot of people move abroad with children. It's not that hard. It really isn't. You just, again, have to prepare. Um, and then there's also the other option of like feeling stuck and not being able to move, or like you feeling like, oh, I want to do this, I want to live abroad, but I just can't do it right now. Well, you don't have to move abroad immediately, but have you just thought about vacationing in that country or spending part of the year in that country? You're like, oh, I can finagle a month or maybe 2 months. I can leave the country out of the year and just go to that country and experience it. You have to move there full time. There's other options. You don't always have to do the most extreme thing. And then, maybe moving there for a couple of months out of the year, over time, you can really figure out if that country is really the place that you want to be and set up long-term relationships. So then when you do move there full time, it's just a really easy transition. So, you do you, boo. It's up to you. But I just want to implore you that you're not stuck. You're just in a particular place, a particular stage in the timeline of your life, and you are in control of that, and you can move outside of that timeline. So that is it for today. I post every damn day, even when I don't want to, because I believe in discipline and I believe in you. And I will be here tomorrow for another video. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Real quick before you leave, if you enjoyed this video and you like this kind of content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm really building this channel for people who want honest conversations about traveling, living abroad, financial freedom, and just figuring life out outside the box. I'm not your average guy. I occupy quite a lot of identities that are not mainstream. My perspective gives a unique outlook that doesn't always get a voice in popular media, and I appreciate anyone open to hearing my voice, knowledge, and experience. So if that's your vibe, subscribe, join the community, and let's keep exploring together.